Hi friends, it's Q&A time. I'm so excited to be finally putting together this video. You all asked questions in a video called A Little Update, and there were tons of great questions. A lot of them are very similar, so we grouped some of them, and then I just chose some random ones that I thought I would answer. A little disclaimer first. I am in my studio. I am obviously not organized or unpacked at all. You can see the boxes in the corner and the mess behind me, so bear with me as I transition back into the studio. I know it's been months, but it's just taken a lot of time. I'm not gonna make any excuses. I've been busy, been traveling, all that good stuff. I am determined to make this video though. So let's get started. The first question, where, when, and how did you meet JC? Where did you grow up? What about your family, father, mother, siblings? And then it seems like a lot of you asked the same sort of questions. Parents, siblings, JC, etc. Would love to know more about your family and what helps you make you who you are. Well, I grew up in Chicago to two immigrant parents who were both born in India. We are Chinese. I'm an only child. I had a wonderful childhood. My parents are awesome. They divorced when I was 15, but I really just had a very happy and joyous upbringing, and I feel lucky to be in such a loving family where I grew up with my grandparents and my uncles and aunts, and so I don't have brothers or sisters, but I'm very close to my cousins. I met JC on sort of a blind date. We met through a mutual friend, and our first date happened to be April Fool's Day, April 1st. So it was a really fun little date. We met at a bar called Bottle Rock in Culver City, which is no longer there. It was a wine bar. And we just, I don't know, I guess we kind of hit it off enough to plan our second date or third date, I believe. Yeah, maybe both second and third date before we were done with the first one. That was kind of fun. And I think it was at a time where both of us were, you know, probably not looking for something serious, but we were dating and having fun, and at a point in our lives where I guess when that kind of stuff happens, you just go with it. We actually only dated for about 5 months before we moved in together into my place in Venice, so that was cool. Oh, and I have this weird allergy thing. I think it's allergies. I don't think it's a cold, so bear with me. Really sorry. I like to pick a word to use to focus on my goals for the year. What word would you use to describe your 2017 goals? Well, it's interesting that you ask because I actually like to do the same thing. I chose for 2017 focus because there are so many things going on and lots of wonderful opportunities that oftentimes I feel overwhelmed. And I want to say yes to so many things, and it's usually all positive, but I also have to make sure that I keep focused on the things that matter most and that I am not too scattered, and then taking away from some opportunities that are coming, or just the opportunity to relax. I don't think that I've ever really valued the downtime as much as I have now. So I think that it's really important to stay focused and on top of my game and make sure that I have some semblance of balance between work life, you know, home life, family life, play, all that stuff. Words in the past of mine have been thrive. This is not in order. Balance, choose, together, share, and I think that's maybe it. That's at least 5. But they all have played an influential role in my life, and I think that it's really great to choose a word that can kind of guide you through the year. Next question, who inspires you? Could be creativity or anyone in general that gives you inspiration somehow in your life. All right, so actually I honestly get inspired by so many people. I get inspired by people who are doing things that are making an impact, and really the people who are willing to share their stories in a positive way, or people who have gone through something really difficult and they're willing to share their story with you and really inspire you in a way that you just didn't think possible. I can think of several people. My grandma, who passed away a few years ago, she was one of those women who, she wasn't one of those grandmas who was like doting and all sweet. She was actually very mean when I was little, but I realized that the reason she was strict or mean was because she just wanted the best for me and her other grandkids all the time. So she didn't be mean to be mean. She was more wanting the best for us. So I don't know if this is a good example, but she would make sacrifices for us so that we could have the best life possible. And she would cook for us. And so she, instead of saying, hey everybody, dinner's ready. I mean, she spoke Chinese, so it would sound different than that, but that's what she meant to say. She'd be like, come and eat now. And then we would sit around the table and we'd eat, and let's say we couldn't finish what we were having. She'd be like, you need to eat, you need to grow, you need to eat more. Oh my gosh, it was so funny. So anyways, so my grandma is one of those inspiring people, and I think you realize how much of an impact somebody has on your life, obviously more so maybe when they're gone, because you miss that interaction that taught you so many lessons. And I think that that's something that her passing definitely showed me. So I don't know, I'm inspired by so many people. I'm inspired by you all. When you share your stories in the comments on how you have been affected by something that you've made or gone through or anything like that, I take inspiration wherever I can get it. So I love the fact that people are just so inspiring. They really are. Hey Amy, congrats on your book. Did you go to any art school? What do you think is the one important habit creative people need to develop to start their own business and succeed? Ooh, this is a tough one. I have had my own business since I was about 21 or 22. So I think honestly the best habit you can develop is probably the ability to adapt. If there was just one. But I think being adaptable has been such a huge key in running a small business, because as somebody who really wants to be in control all the time, I think that it's sometimes difficult to adjust to situations, but things change. The economy changes, your interests change, your business just changes, right? So what's working, you know, for you now may not work for you a year from now or 2 years from now. So I think being adaptable has really helped me. And I should back up a little bit. I went to Georgia Tech for college, but throughout my schooling, I've always had an emphasis on arts, and I've just always been interested in it. So whenever I was able to take art electives, I definitely chose to take them. And then after I transferred from Georgia Tech, I decided to do fashion design because that's what I really thought I was passionate about. So I transferred to AIU to study fashion design and marketing. There, it was a little bit less demanding of my time for school like Georgia Tech was. So I was able to get part-time jobs that helped fuel my career and helped me learn a lot about the way the fashion business was running. Another thing that is key is I think that in order to succeed, you have to really be clear about what success means to you and how you define it. Because other people can suggest, oh, well, you should do this, or you're doing so great at that. Why don't you expand, and why don't you grow, and why don't you do this? They're not the ones going through it. They're not the ones in the trenches doing everything day in and day out. So yes, while I'm sure they have great intentions and they want you to succeed, success has to be on your own terms. I am so excited about your book. That is awesome. I don't know if this is a Q&A topic or not, but how do you develop a collection? What is the process from ideas to a theme to the finished products? Yeah, so there's a lot that's involved when I develop my product line with American Crafts. For the most part, I can just give you a brief rundown. I have some blog posts that I'll link below, but basically what we do is I creative direct and have ideas in my head that I try to either put together a mood board or vision board for, or I just write down, you know, ideas or themes or color schemes, anything that I really feel strongly about having a theme for. Like Better Together, for example, I really wanted this like boy meets girl love story, And I wanted it to be this long distance relationship in a way where they wrote postcards to each other, and there's a lot of hand scripting and watercolors in that collection because I wanted it to feel like this relationship. And it didn't have to be between a boy and a girl, but that's what the concept was when I first went to American Crafts. And then I meet with a couple of designers, the art director, and we brainstorm and we put all our ideas together. If I have ideas for new products, if I have sketches that I want to show them, we just put it all on the table and we go through fonts and all kinds of color schemes, and it goes way more in depth than this, but just to give you an idea, that's how we kick off our new collections. While the development of the collections are super fun, I really enjoy that process, I absolutely love holding the product in my hands and then seeing what you all make with it, because that to me is where the magic happens. Are you coming to Australia next year? Perth in particular. Oops, thought of another one. What country haven't you visited that you would love to go to? I have no plans to go to Australia this year, but I hope to very soon. As some of you know, I went on tour with Spotlight Stores to Australia several times. I think I went 4 times. I've been to Australia 5 times, and it's one of my favorite places. Perth in particular is just awesome, but no plans so far, but maybe, you never know. But maybe 2018, yeah. And what country, let's see, on my list, I've never been to Greece, and so that's up there. Yeah, so I would say Greece. Describe your ideal workday, and how do you keep your not ideal workday fun? Any creative tip? So every day for me seems a little bit different, but for the most part, the morning seems like the best time for me to get situated, and I have this little routine that I do. I wake up, I drink half a glass of water, and then I try to journal before I actually pick up my phone to look at it, but sometimes I wake up really early. Lately I've been waking up super early, and so if JC's still asleep, I don't want to turn on the light or anything. But occasionally I will get the chance to actually write some stuff down, and I'll just free write. So it can be anything that's on my mind, and I can just do a brain dump, or I can write about my dreams the previous night, or any thoughts that I have going. And I try to stick to positive things. So when I have my miracle morning, or whatever you want to call that process, I like to get started with work and have everything written down on a to-do list or in my bullet journal. I like to have everything also in my Google Calendar from before, so that I can set up my day and get my mind really in the right frame of thinking for whatever I have coming up. So a typical ideal workday to me, honestly, would be to wake up, have me time, spend a little time with Jack and JC, and then head into the studio that would be sparkling clean and organized, and I would get to create something. And I think that making time to create something would be of utmost importance before checking my email and doing all that stuff. But of course, computer time and technology, you have to do it, and you have to sit at the desk and do these things. But I think that if I can schedule out at least a little bit of creative time first, and then do the 3 things that I need to get done, and even the things that I keep putting off, like the bad things, I think that if I do it in the morning, I have a much better structure to my day because I've already accomplished so much. Another thing I always do in the morning is I always make my bed, because I feel like that's one thing off the to-do list and I feel accomplished already. Oh, and how do I turn a not ideal workday into fun? I feel very blessed and lucky to be doing something that I love. I think that it's taken a lot of hard work and a lot of, yeah, I think that's it. I think it's taken a lot of hard work to get to where I am. I tend to have a lot of energy, so I like to busy myself with projects. Sometimes I do things that seem fun and then they turn into actual work. And then if I have to repeat the task over and over again, I don't really like that. So to keep it fun, I just try to add as much creativity and infuse as much fun as possible. So sometimes editing videos is time consuming, but maybe not that fun, although I love the end product, so that's not a good example. I try not to focus on the bad things if something is not fun. So I'm trying to think of a job that I didn't really like that much that I had to do repeatedly. Because I am self-employed and I have been for a long time, I try to avoid those things that I hate doing. I mean, I know that there are things that you have to do, that every business owner has to do at some point, but I try to not think about it too much and just get it over with, I guess, is what I'm saying. Where do you see yourself in 10 years career-wise? Ooh, 10 years. I will be old. I am old now, but I'll be even older. Wow. Okay, so I think career-wise, honestly, so I know this sounds silly, but hopefully I can continue enjoying my everyday, but I just think that maybe I will have made more of an impact between now and then. So maybe it's not having this big, huge company. In fact, that's probably not what I want. But I love the idea that Amy Tangerine is bigger than it is now. So maybe there's more products involved. Maybe there's more online classes. Maybe there's just more good stuff, and that it's available and so many people can access it. I think it'd be amazing if I could just make YouTube videos all day. I mean, will YouTube even be around in 10 years? I hope so. I'll be really old for YouTube then. But it'd be so awesome if I could just turn on a camera and say, hey, this is what I'm going to show you today, show you, and then magically the video would get edited. That would be awesome, and uploaded and tagged and all that stuff. Yeah, so hopefully I, in 10 years, will have expanded my family. Jack will be, oh my gosh, Jack will be a teenager. 13. Okay, I can't think about that. Oh gosh, okay. That's scary. So maybe career-wise, I have this amazingly wonderful little company where I have the best people working for me, or with me, I should say, and we just are kicking butt. Yeah. That's what we're doing. How did you decide to do what you are doing now? Was it a deliberate decision, or did it all just evolve? Did you want to initially be creative in ways other than you are now? Yeah, I did. And I know it sounds silly to reference my book, but that's why I wrote this book, because my career path has been this woo, windy road and like up and down and roller coaster, and it's even done some loops here and there and probably gone upside down more than once. But that's why I wrote this book, Craft a Life You Love, because I have always had this idea. My parents instilled in me this vision or idea that I could do whatever I wanted to do. And I think that that's such a tremendous feeling to have, is that they believed in me so much that they said, you can achieve whatever you seek out to achieve. Maybe they didn't say it like that, but they truly believed in me so much that no matter what, even when I had career changes or shifts, my dad always kept telling me, you know, the most important thing is to be happy. And I don't know, I feel so blessed to be able to do that. I mean, my first job was McDonald's, okay? So was I necessarily happy working at McDonald's? No, but it was a great job, and I think I was starting there when I was 14 or 15. It was one of the only places that let you work at that young of an age, and I made minimum wage, $4.25 an hour, by the way. And then creatively, I think that I've always, like, this is a dream job. To me, what I do for a living, I mean, I can't even believe sometimes that I get to do these things, you know, and I feel so lucky and fulfilled and blessed. I mean, sure, there are times when I want to stop it all and just keep my hobbies as a hobby and then just get a job that pays the bills and pays me a lot of money. And, you know, I don't have to deal with all the other stuff that goes along with having your own small business. But I get to basically create whatever I want. Not create whatever I want, but I get to feel a certain way every day because I have my own business. So no, I had no idea that I would be doing this for a living. at all. I mean, I wanted to be a fashion designer. When I was little, I wanted to be a dentist. I wanted to be a banker. I wanted to, oh my gosh, be an esthetician. I love popping pimples. So if I wasn't doing something creative like this, I would definitely go back to esthetician school and just like pick at people's skin. Yes, I know, that's so gross. So I heard years ago that much like the 7-year itch that you hear about in relationships, creative people actually have the same kind of thing, where every 7 years you feel a shift in your creativity and your direction, which is what happened to me with the t-shirt line. So I was in the fashion industry for, you know, about 7 years, actually a little bit more than that, but it got to the point where I wasn't feeling fulfilled in ways that I thought I needed to be fulfilled. And, you know, a lot of times it's not about money, it's not about anything else. I mean, usually it is about money. When it comes to work, it's about money. You know, you have to make a living, you have to earn money to pay your bills, to pay your rent, mortgage, etc. But sometimes what you love doing doesn't pay that well. So I think if you can change the rules a little bit for yourself and really just work hard and be nice to people, be kind to people, and just have a really good work ethic no matter what you're doing, even though it may only be temporary. I mean, I have had so many jobs, I should list them all. I don't think I remember them all, but in some random order: McDonald's, Gadzooks, Bath and Body Works. Did I work at Gap? I can't remember. Publix grocery store. Anyway, I have had so many jobs. I was a data entry specialist. Of course, I babysat. You know, I just did whatever it took so that I could earn money to buy creative supplies or buy whatever I felt like buying. I think there's such freedom in doing something that you feel fulfilled in. So I know a lot of people may be unhappy in their jobs, or they feel like they can't change directions. And I don't really feel that way. And I think that this is a deeper conversation, obviously, than just this Q&A. But I just think that happiness is so important that I would rather be in a situation like I'm in and make less money than I could if I just probably got a creative director position at a big company. Because, I don't know, I just think that the challenge of what I get to do every day is so fulfilling to me and so wonderful, and I get to create, you know, I get to dictate what I want to create for the most part. I mean, there are so many challenges that I think it'd be a lot easier if I was with a bigger company, but at the same time, I couldn't imagine, you know, my life being any different right now. How in the world do you find time to be creative? It seems like life always gets in the way when I have oodles of ideas, but never enough time. This idea of time is something that I have constantly gone through over in my head so much. And I listen to these podcasts, and you know, time is the same for everyone. Everybody has 24 hours in a day. Of course, we all have our obligations and things we have to do, but because I think creativity is such a huge part of my life, I have to make sure that I spend 15 minutes a day creating and doing whatever I want to do that makes me feel creative and happy. Now, I heard on this podcast one time, and I can't remember who said this, somebody very smart said this: if you don't have 10 minutes, you don't have a life. Which is so interesting to me because it's true. If you actually log and track your time, I think you might be surprised at how much time you actually do have and what you're doing to fill up the time that maybe is your downtime. Maybe you love being on Facebook because it helps you keep in touch with friends and family. Maybe you love watching YouTube videos and you love just going on and, you know, spending 2 hours on YouTube. That's fine. I mean, that might be your creative time. But I think that if you really evaluate how you are spending your time and keep a log of it for a while, a little bit, and really be honest with yourself, then you'd be surprised. You can find those 15 minutes here and there, and maybe it becomes an hour. And I talk about it in my book. Again, I talk about it in my book. In fact, I think there's a whole section dedicated to this. Yes, there is a whole section. Okay, so in part 3, under crafting the right environment, number 2 is you have enough time. So check it out, yo. Shameless plugs for my book. Because no, really, honestly, this is the whole reason I wrote this book. Are you a reader? Speaking of books, if so, what types of books do you like? What do you recommend? I am a reader. I have this goal of reading 20 books this year. Typically, I'm just happy to read 1 book a month, but you know, that doesn't always work. And so 20 books this year. I love reading self-help books. I know it sounds weird, but Big Magic is a favorite of mine. Recently, I'm reading Essentialism right now. And so I tend to read like a self-help sort of book. I don't know, maybe it's a different category. I looked at the stack of my books one time and it was like all these like positive things to enhance your life. Okay, so I think that the battery ran out at some point, or it got cut off and I didn't realize that it stopped recording, so I'm not sure where I left off, but I'm going to link this book blog post that I have of books that have changed my life. I'm going to link it below so that you guys can go check it out. And then if you have recommendations on books, please let me know. I love like chick lit books. I love anything really interesting. I don't really like murder mystery type books because I get really scared, but I do like all kinds of interesting books and novels. Do you plan on having more children? I hope so. I really do. Jack is at such a great age right now, and I'm an only child, so I think that I would love to have him have siblings. JC is the oldest of 4, and yeah, so I hope to. For a long time, I was kind of just enjoying him, and recently I have been like, okay, we gotta do something about this. So yeah, maybe baby fever has officially kicked in. Alright, so that was a lot of questions and a lot of answers, and some of them were really long. So I know that there are some unanswered questions that I hope to maybe just do another Q&A sometime and include those answers too. Thank you so much for watching and listening to me ramble and talk. Let me know if you like this kind of video, and give it a thumbs up if you do. It means so much to me that you all watch my videos and like to listen to me rambling, and I'm so glad that you're excusing and not judging me on the mess behind me. Thanks so much, and if you have gotten my book, let me know in the comments below. Post on Instagram, hashtag craft a life you love, and I am just so overwhelmed with joy, and the response has been amazing. I plan on making a video dedicated just to the book itself, so stay tuned for that, and I hope you feel inspired to keep those creative juices flowing. Bye! This lipstick, I love this lipstick. It's called Classic Red by Pixie Beauty, and I just do a thin coat. Ah.